Barukata Yahuwah Eloheinu melech olam. Father, we give all praise and glory unto your name. Faithful are you, and true are your words. And we thank you so much that you have given us the understanding this day that we can stand before you, sit before you, kneel before you in righteousness. Help us to walk in righteousness, to live in righteousness, and even to die in righteousness. May your name be praised forever. May you grant us peace. May you use my lips to speak your words. And may you be glorified forever and ever. Amen. Hallelujah. So let's talk about the Great War, family. That's something that is definitely needed. We're going to be looking at some scriptures to gain some understanding of what is to come in the near future. I know it is customary for assemblies to talk about so many other things and not go into the prophecies of Scripture because there is a fear that's upon many people and also a great ignorance upon many people of the things that is to come. In most cases, when we think about religions, we find that no one wants to really deal with the main uh, issues at hand, and we have to take a different stand, and we have to not ignore what is written, but go to it. And one of the things that is written, as Solomon once said, there's a time for love and time to hate. There's a time for peace, and there's also time for war. There's a time for everything under the sun. And we cannot ignore that the time is coming. There must be a great war. And there's a reason why there must be a great war. When you open up the Bible and you read the book of Genesis, you find that mankind has gone so far away that the Most High don't even recognize them as part of his creation. They become so corrupt that the image of Elohim is lost. But Noah was the only one who stood before our Elohim with a face that resembles him. He found grace in his eyes. He's found refuge. And family, we are finding ourselves in that day and age that it is written, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. We are seeing signs all around us that is very hard to ignore. And churches are not taking the initiative to really bring this thing up. What they're talking about is something completely different. But we're going to read scriptures today and just to go through it because it is needful. Just like understanding who the Hebrews are, and no one really goes into that stuff, and showing up, looking at the prophecies, people ignore all that. And all they want is to go straight to paradise and be with God forever. Well, there are things that has to happen, and we want to take a look at that. I want to share with you all some news first to give you a little bit of idea of why it is so important for this great war to take place. Let me get my thing here together. Come on. Why it is important for this great war to take place. I was looking at a news report. This is, I think it's still in today's news. Let me make it bigger so we all can see it. Close this out. All right. This will give us an idea why the Most High, what happened here? That's not what I wanted. Okay, so now this is doing some, all right. This is one of the reasons that we find that the Most High have to put an end to these nations because people are getting really crazy and far-fetched when it comes to life on this earth. This news report I saw, let me Stop this nonsense. Okay. The title is Humans Biohacking Their Own Bodies with Blood Transfusion to Achieve DIY Immortality. A cure for aging is on the horizon, claim scientists, but some daredevils can't wait. Let me make it a little bit bigger. I'll just read a few parts of this article and get right into our reading for today. Anti-aging science has never been more hyped, with breakthrough in genetic engineering and drug discovery pushing the boundaries of what was once dismissed as science fiction. Although futurologists have said immortality is possible, some scientists believe delaying the onset of aging is more ethical, and research into this is booming. Longevity biotech firms received $800 million in funding in 2017, compared with less than half that in 2014, according to data from cbinsights.com. Quote, in the past decade, we have made a major discovery. Gerontologist Richard Miller at the University of Michigan told New Scientist, quote, we have proven that you can slow the aging process using drugs. The process of taking such a drug through clinical trials takes around 7 years, with the majority failing to get approved for safety reasons or because they just don't work for humans. Some people, dubbed biohackers, are willing to dabble in DIY anti-aging medicine and other hacks which have not passed these stringent tests despite the high risks. We know biohacking happens all the time. Lynn Cox, a biochemist at the University of Oxford, told New Scientist, there's a lot of DIY, she added, from unregulated blood transfusions to off-label pill popping. Biohackers are putting their health in their own hands rather than those of qualified doctors. Let me scroll down here. The grim, somewhat vampiric practice of swapping blood between a young person and an older person is called parabiosis. Parabiosis. Scientists discovered in the 1970s that fusing the circulatory system of animals together, sometimes for a week on end, had surprising results. The younger animal would age prematurely, whereas the older animal was rejuvenated. But a stark warning was issued by the FDA, who said it feared some Americans are receiving rogue blood transfusions. I'm going to stop here, because what we're seeing, people, families, that people are spending a lot of money to live forever, and they're doing things like vampires. I'm thinking about the amount of abortions that happens and transfusions, not transfusions, but blood banks that have been in works for a long time. And then I think about the movies that are out there. There are a lot of movies. There's one called The Strain. Some of y'all have heard of it, and some of y'all have never heard of it. But it's a movie that echoes the so-called Third Reich of Nazi Germany, setting up a process in place where they start to do what you call the final solution of destroying certain people in society. And this movie in particular were setting things in a future where there's a certain type of being, which is almost like a vampire, that releases these worms or spores into society, causing the people to change into vampires like themselves. And they went through this whole media propaganda movement of making people believe that the society of the future is going to be free of war. It's going to be a society where there will be no more suffering. And this utopia was advertised and people actually believed it. But before they did this, they started doing chaos. Then they dropped a bomb, and the bomb caused what you call a nuclear winter, where the sun was blocked out. And once the sun was blocked out, there was just enough light from the sun to allow people to operate, but for the vampires to come out of the darkness and to be out in open public and whatnot. It sounds to me like what they're doing right now with the blocking out of the sun. Who are they really blocking out the sun for? What are they doing with all these technologies and stuff? You have the sperm banks, and some of the technologies about trying to live longer is the use of sperm. People are utilizing sperm because a male continues to produce it all the time, so you can always acquire it and use that to work in the body. They have learned and studied how to do these things. Interesting thing about the same movie called The Strain is that they, in a movie, those vampires have a so-called white blood, a blood similar to that of semen, and there's worms that moves around, similar like this, the sperm itself. Okay, it's an incredible movie because it sets up a really diabolical future, family. And what they have done was set up, after they have wiped out a certain segment of humanity, they said we need to repopulate society, so we need our women to come out in these centers and produce babies. They don't show you how the babies are conceived, but the women are pregnant, and then they take the harvest the babies, and brothers and sisters, the babies are used to keep those vampires, give those vampires long life. And then they take the bodies and process them into like you see the Red Cross centers. They have a warehouse where they process these bodies into blood banks and different things like that, and get rid of the bodies. So they're keeping the people alive just to support the vampire system. Brothers and sisters, when you look at the movies, you notice that there is a push for population control. But I'll tell you, there will be a population control, but not at the hands of man. The Most High will do it himself. And this is why we're going to have the great war. He must destroy the wicked. These Gentiles are people, very interesting people, because for some reason or the other, their minds are always working against the Most High. I can't explain it because maybe it's not for me to explain, but it's just interesting how a certain type of people, for some reason or the other, they're just bent on changing things from the way that the Most High made it to be. They're not satisfied with the way things are. They have to find some means to modify themselves and everything else around them. Now, dogs themselves are not even the way that they're supposed to be. Let me show you this other article. This was in the news just yesterday. Let's see if we can close this out. Give me 1 second. Okay. Officials say cases of disease that can be transferred. Okay, tell you what. Unblock ads. They're forcing us to look at the ads and stuff. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so let me do this. Give me 1 second. Let's close this out. me 1 second, Mishpaka. Close this out. So there was an article published just yesterday. Officials, cases of disease that can be transferred from dog to human confirmed in Iowa. Trying to make it a little bit bigger so we all can see it. People seem to forget that the Most High caused everything to be separated. But the Gentiles, for some reason, believe that it shouldn't be so at all, and it's not right, and we need to change. Okay, this thing is taking me all over the place. Give me 1 second, family. All right, let's try this again. I'm just going to go ahead and read the article. It says, whether you love it or hate it, your dog probably loves licking you. But does kissing your pet on the mouth means risking your health? State officials are warning the public about a disease in dogs that can be passed to humans. State veterinarian Dr. Jeff Kaysen has confirmed several cases of canine brucellosis. Brucellosis, I guess that's how it's pronounced. Coming from a commercial small dog breeding facility in Marion County, the sickness is known to only affect dogs and humans, according to the Iowa Department of Public Health. We are in the process of notifying the individuals who have custody of the exposed dogs. A Friday news release from Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship states both the animals and facilities are quarantined while the dogs undergo clinical testing. Zoonotic bacteria disease, zoonotic meaning the sickness that can be transmitted from one animal to people or other types of animals, is spread through reproductive fluids, the release states. Signs of disease in a dog include infertility, spontaneous abortions, and stillbirths, according to the Department of Public Health. Symptoms for humans include fever, sweats, headaches, joint pain, and weakness. Those who have recently acquired a small dog from Marion County should get their pet tested. Kassan said, any questions should be directed to your primary doctor or Department of Public Health. Pet owners, and those who come in contact with animals are being reminded to wash their hands regularly. The threat to most pet owners is considered very low. The release reads, dog breeders, veterinary staff, and anyone who comes in contact with blood, tissue, and fluids during the birthing process may be at risk, higher risk, and should consult their primary care physician. The disease is most common in kennels and breeding facilities. Let me see what else I want to read from this. Anyway, so what do you expect when you have this? Every show that you watch, there's a dog. Every commercial, there's a dog. Everything is a dog, dogs. And people don't realize the dangers associated with an animal who has a whole different system than ourselves. And these animals have a way of cleaning themselves that is totally different. If you have a child that turns his face into his buttocks and cleans his behind by licking it, family, would you kiss that child? If you have a friend that does this, a friend that picks his nose and eats it, a family member. Most people don't think about it, but they would get upset when we present the stuff. And I'm showing you what the so-called doctors are saying, but people, again, will never listen. This is why we have to have a great war. Let's close this out. We're gonna go to going to go to the book of Revelations, chapter 12. You want to say something?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
They call them nowadays fur kids. They call the dogs and animals fur kids.
Fur kids?
Yes, that's what they call them now.
We are in danger as a people when we try our very best to be set apart, and these the DNA of these people who have DNA mixed with other creatures, because the Bible says that all flesh had corrupted his way. How did this happen? Do we need to have scientists to tell us something that the Most High already told us not to do and have forewarned us? Or are we going to be stiff-necked people and try to be as a heathen? The Bible says to learn not the ways of the heathen. It's not about the Christmas tree alone. It's about the way that they do stuff. They believe it's okay to sleep on a bed with an animal. They believe it's okay to a man or woman would lay down while the dog is right there, and they would do their business, and the dog would be right there seeing everything. They believe in having a type of a culture that the animals is not separated from themselves. And then when they produce children who have all of these diseases in their bodies, we go out and we pick from these people, and we ourselves become contaminated. How can we be the chosen people of the Most High when we fail to do the chosen stuff to be the chosen people? So the only way we can correct this problem is that the Most High must declare war. Let's go to Revelations chapter 12, and we're going to read verses 7 to 17. I'd like a reader to help me out because it's a lot of reading, okay? Revelations chapter 12 lets us know, family, that we were born into warfare. You and I was born into a time of war. We didn't come into a world of peace, we came into a time of war. And I'm looking forward to that great war to bring an end to the powers that be, because I simply don't know of any other solutions. And the only answers is what the Most High have to do himself. So we're going to pick it up at verses 7. All right? My readers ready?
Shalom, shalom.
Go ahead, brother.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night.
Let's pause for a moment. If you notice, there's a war first, and then there's salvation. Now salvation is coming. There must be some deliverance. We cannot continue to operate the way we are unless there's a war. There must be a cleansing. Let's continue. Verses 11.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and he that dwell in them. Woe to the
Inhabitants.
inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished, into her place,
Nourished for a
sorry,
time.
nor, where, let me repeat that again, where she is nourished for a time, and times and a half, a time from the face of the serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach.
Brothers and sisters, every one of us were born into war. It's an ongoing war. And wars are not just bombs and guns and arrows and shields and stuff. There's also a propaganda. There's a media war, spiritual war. There are wars on different fronts and different levels. But the war is still ongoing. Back in World War II, there were people who were set up to do propaganda, to broadcast on the radio things to sway the soldiers from having the desire to fight on. Leaflets were dropped into communities to cause the people to lose hope, to believe that, they should give in or give up. All of that is part of warfare. Brothers and sisters, we are in warfare today where we have been attacked from all fronts. On the home front, we're attacked on the school front, the medical front, every which way. As you've seen with that article, we're also attacked on that level too. Because we have to interact with people on a daily basis. We send our children to school. And in most cases, the children that they have to interact with are not clean. The teachers are not clean. The people who process the foods are not clean. We are dealing with a very, very, very diseased and sick world that needs to be purified and cleansed again. Kifa, is there something you want to say?
Shalom, shalom, everyone out there. I bring you good tidings, prosperity, peace, and hope. We are destroyed for a lack of knowledge and understanding, and the ability to have understanding and wisdom in everything we do and say. Sometimes we think because of the sways of society, we continue in life doing things that we think or we see that is good for our benefit, but is really a destruction for our souls. We are fighting a war each day. It's not only a mental war in the sense of anxiety and in the sense of concern, in the sense of frustration, in the sense of people making promises, in the sense of work, in the sense of all things. We're fighting a war in every way. We're fighting a war if you don't realize the facts of trying to stay alive and survive. The Georgia Guidestone says that they have to bring the world and the earth to a certain population base for a certain amount. There's fights and wars in Africa. You go to the supermarket, there's a fight and war with GMOs. You go to the Home Depot or Lowe's, there's a fight for your life with the foods that you have from Roundup back down, Monsanto and everything. But the most difficult fight is between each other that we have. The difficulty to live in peace and harmony the difficulty to be in the sense of truthful to each other. This difficulty would cost most of us our lives by swaying in the wrong direction. The food we eat is compromise. The air we breathe is compromise. The vehicles we drive is compromise because they're all electronic. They could make a mind of their own and do whatever they have to do. The only thing we can have faith in and faith on is the Most High who created everything. And we have to stay focused, folks. We have to stay focused. Because these things that they're telling you right now that's transferred from animal to human, people are finding comfort, as they call these animals comfort. The women are finding comfort with these animals, and they're going towards, as far as the Bible says, they're transferring their lust and desires to these animals. And unfortunately, there is a price to pay for these things. And you don't know if the person that you're with is providing a service to somebody that is providing a service to these animals. The next thing you know, you get some disease that you are not even thinking about and some problems that you're not even expecting. But 2 Timothy 3 says that these things are come to pass and will come to pass. And the Most High shall be truthful about everything that he says. And we are standing in the times of the last days. Amen.
All right, Kifa. With that said, family, let us go to Daniel chapter 12. We're going to read a few verses here. The book of Daniel chapter 12. And we're going to read verses, 3 to verses 4, okay? Just those two verses, 3 to verses 4.
And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Now, the Bible says to shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. And it says, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. How do we know that we are in the end times? The mere fact that technology has been increased to this point now, where you have the Google this and Google that. We have the ability to travel around this earth, and people are finding faster and faster ways of travel. You have bullet trains, supersonic jets. All of these things are letting us know, family, that we are definitely in the last days, end times. But it also says that there will be a turning, a wisdom, that they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever, they will shine. Isn't that happening also? That there are many people being turned onto righteousness by going back to the word of the Most High? So we have three signs: the awakening of the Most High's people, the increase of knowledge, and also transportation traveling throughout this earth. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 35. We have quite some things here. Let me see if I want to go there first. Give me 1 second. Okay, before we do that, let's stay in Daniel. We're going to go to chapter 2, and we're going to read Daniel chapter 2. Second. Daniel 2, and we'll read, start at verses 40. We'll read, skip down through. Now, this is talking about the statue, the image that has the 4 segments of time: head of gold and silver and brass and also iron. So we want to go right to the 4th kingdom, which is that of the iron, verses 40. We'll read from there. Okay, let's read 40 and we'll skip on down. Oh, read from 40 down to verses 44, okay?
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron has breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of strength of the iron, for as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in in the days of these kings shall Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people,
To other people, read.
but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
You know what this reminds me? It reminds me when Moses put down, or Aaron put down the staff, and it consumed the other staffs and made one kingdom, one staff. Remember, it turned into a snake and ate up the other two and became one in the hand. Well, this is the prophecy of the future. The Bible is saying, in the days of these kings, in the days of these kings, shall Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom. So those kings will be around, or those kingdoms will still be around, and they will have to subject themselves unto the Most High, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand for a short time, forever. This is talking about the fourth kingdom being defeated, which is the Roman Empire. We are still under the Roman Empire. Don't be fooled about it. Everything around us has some Latin embedded in it. Our dollar bill, if you have a coin, it has the Latin on there. You go to your courts, you go to your medicines. You name it. It's all Latin, Latinized. Okay, it's a Latin system. So, what we are looking at is that the last kingdom before the Messiah's kingdom is the Romish Empire. All right, now let's go to Daniel chapter 7, and we're going to read verses, let's see, 17. Daniel 7 and 17. And then we're going to go to Ezekiel after this. So let's go Daniel 7, 17. Let's see what the book has to say.
These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
Verses 18.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
All right. So the Bible is saying that there were great beasts also, not just the statue that had four different types of metals, but also there are four beasts which are connected to the same system that we talked about before: the Babylonians, the Median Persian Empire, the Grecian Empire, then finally the Roman Empire, which is where we are today. And so you have four beasts which represents those empires, and we are at the final and diverse beast. Now let's skip on down to verses. Let's go down to verses 25. Okay. Actually, 21. Let's start from there.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them
Mm-hmm.
until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
All right, let's skip on down to verses 26.
But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
In order for us to have this thing fulfilled, brothers and sisters, there must be an end to other kingdoms. Two kings cannot sit on the same throne. There must be an overthrow of one, like you see right now in Venezuela. They're trying to get rid of that other guy and put another guy in, and that causes what? Civil war. It's the same thing. You know, there must be a war to get rid of another empire. It's not going to be some smooth transition where you're going to pass on the authority to another king. You must have a war. Okay. So with that said, let's go to Ezekiel 35. Is everyone having an issue hearing the sound of my voice? In the chat room, is everything okay? Y'all can hear me well? Okay, great. Let's go to Ezekiel. Most churches do not go into these books because it will shrink the monies that's coming in, and people don't want to hear the raw, uncut truth. It's very, very offensive. And after all, the God of Christianity is a God of love and not one of war. So let us see what the future is holding out for the world. The Bible is going to declare war on the nations because they have turned the Most High's order upside down. So let's read from chapter 35, verses 1.
Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus say Yahuwah Elohim, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate.
Does that sound like peace or war? That's war. Let's continue on.
I will lay thy cities waste.
That's war.
And thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Elohim. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity
had an end.
Now
let's pause for a moment. If Israel is no longer a people, how could this be kept on file? Oh, let me put it a different way. Why would this be something of importance to be brought up into memory if Israel is no longer relevant in the future? The Most High is letting the prophets know to prophesy these words against Mount Seir. I'm not sure if anyone knows who Seir is, but that's another word for whom. Let's see if anyone is thinking in the chat room. Seir. Let's pull something up here. I want you all to see Sair, what it means, okay? Some of y'all who are new probably have never seen the definition of this word. We're going to pull it up in real time that you all can see it, okay? Yes, you're answering correct in the chat room, but it's a little bit more than that. Let's see. All right, I see. Okay, y'all got it. Sair. Let me click on this right quick.
Strong's H8165. Seir. Seir.
Seir. All right. Now, let's see what it says. It says, hairy or shaggy, the patriarchs of the Horites, the inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. And what does it mean? Hairy, but there's a little bit more to it. Let's click on 8163 to go to the root. And this is what it means. It means a goat. It also means the devil. A satyr or satyr may refer to a demon-possessed goat like the swine of Gadara. All right? So it simply means a something demonic. So this is a prophecy against a certain people who the Most High must get rid of because they have a perpetual. It says you have a, let me see where it says, verses 5. Because you have had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the what? The sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So this is something that the Most High did not forget. Forgive and forget mentality. Let's not go back over that again. Those things are past. Let's see what verse 6 says. Yes, 6.
Therefore, as I live, saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. See it, thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
It says, it looks like you don't hate blood. Because you don't hate blood, you don't abhor the blood, blood is going to pursue you. Then we look at it, didn't we just look at an article that show you how the people were pursuing blood? First of all, they love war. They love prisons, build prisons. The medical facility is always siphoning blood. They're always shedding blood. They're always designing weapons of war. You can't get the guns away from them. They love the sale of guns. They love armaments. They love nuclear bombs. Everything about them is about shedding of blood or contaminating blood. Now they love drinking the blood. They love to have bloody steaks. Everything about them is blood, blood, blood. So the Most High said, okay, you love blood. Blood is going to also pursue you. Let's read.
Verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth.
Let me ask this question. Where's Mount Seir today? The Edomites. If the Edomites have been destroyed a long time ago, how can this prophecy come to pass? I'm trying to understand how we can have a fulfillment of these words when these people no longer exist. Verses 8.
And I will fill his mountains with his slain men in thy hills and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah.
And you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Verses 10.
Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahuwah was there.
Let me ask this question. What is it talking about? These two nations, plural, and these two countries shall be mine. What is it talking about? No. What did it desire? It's Judah and Israel, the two houses of Israel. Okay. All right. So they desire. Remember that the blessing that was supposed to go to Esau, Jacob got it. And from that time on, Esau have always had a hatred for Jacob. Let's read verses 11.
Therefore, as I live, say Yahuwah Elohim, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thy envy, which thou hadst used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee.
Verses 12.
And thou shalt know that I am Yahuwah, and I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume.
They are empty so we can take over the territories. Right? Let's read on.
Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate.
So the Most High has a plan to eradicate Edom for how they think and how destructive they are as a people. Verses 15.
As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah.
All, not some, all of Edom. Let me read it again. As you did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel. That's the Goldilocks syndrome. Because it was desolate, so will I do unto you. You shall be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, or all Edom, even all of it, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. So there's going to be a war. It's setting itself up right now. Things are getting itself in order. There's an itch that the people wants to scratch. They want to have war. Let's go to chapter 36. We'll pick it up at verses 1. Okay.
Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah Elohim, because thy enemy had said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Therefore prophesy and say, thus say Yahuwah Elohim, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that he might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people.
So it says, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen. So the heathen has control over the territories of Israel. That's what the book is saying. Is the Most High happy with that? No. Does he have a program to remove them? Absolutely. Okay, he has a plan that is soon to come, family. Let's read verses 4.
Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahuwah Elohim. Thus say Yahuwah Elohim to the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaking, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus say Yahuwah Elohim, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey.
They want to spoil the place and turn it into what they want, not the way the Most High have set it apart. I want you all to listen carefully. To make the place into a prey is to utilize it for their own benefit. He says, the Most High says, I am jealous. I have spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Yes, elder. Which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart. So I want to know who's in the land right now. Yes, elder.
Yeah, that is what's shalom, family. This is what's going on now. For a long time now, this the system that they have, the enemy have created for themselves. We all know it. They drill in the earth. They see everywhere. They're getting oil from it, and they spray in the sky. They do all kind of wickedness on this earth, trying to change all that, even the humans, animals, and all the things that those people are doing to change everything and even to destroy God's children. And that is why they have war. And God is going to stop that pretty soon. Thank you very much.
Let's read on, Brother Pincus. Verse 6.
Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus say Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because he have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus say Yahuwah Elohim, I have lifted up my hand, surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear thy shame.
Their shame. So it's putting it into the sense of a land that has been raped and abused, and you feel ashamed of what has happened to you. So now he's going to pass the shame from the person who's been exploited or the territory onto the people who have exploited them. There's no reason why Israel should continue being exploited. He's going to put an end to it. Let's read.
But ye mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches, and and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come.
Wait a minute. The Bible is saying that they are what?
At hand.
At hand to what?
Come.
Did it say that they're already there? That's what we got to keep a close eye on, family. See, there are people who occupy the land right now claiming to be Israelites. But the Bible is saying that in the book of Ezekiel is letting us know that there are people who possess the land and are exploiting the territories. But the Most High has to deal with them because he's jealous how they have identified and taken over his stuff, and he's jealous, he's upset with this thing. He says, but you, O mountains of Israel, you shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people Israel. There is no denomination listed here. There's no prophecy about a denomination occupying anything. There's no prophecy about a denomination occupying heaven or even any place on earth. You cannot find it. So when people strive in those denominations to be the best church goer, they're wasting their time because the Most High don't care about that. He cares about Israel. He called Israel his people. Okay? They are at hand to come. It hasn't happened yet. We're supposed to be coming. The people are to come. So the mountains of Israel is speaking about the territory in this language, saying that soon the occupants will be coming. Okay, verses 9.
For behold, I am for you, and I will turn unto you, and ye shall be
Tilled and sown.
tilled and sown.
So the territory has to be plowed again. Things have to grow back into it again. Tilled and sown. That sounds like work to me. That sounds like a future of farming. That doesn't sound to me like building all these plastic industries and cars and tablets and computers and stuff. It sounds like going back to the dirt. And I'm hoping this will happen in my lifetime. Okay. So the land is begging, I want to be tilled and sown. I want to be fertile again. Verses 10.
And I will multiply men upon you.
So if the right people was already in the land, you think the Most High would have used this language? He will multiply men upon. I will multiply. That's so it hasn't happened yet. The right people is not in the land. Let's read.
All the house of Israel.
All the churches.
All the house of Israel.
All the congregations.
All the house of Israel.
Read on.
Even all of it.
No, one tribe, Jewish people.
All of it.
So we have a problem. If this has been fulfilled already, where is Issachar? Where is Zebulun? Where is Naphtali? Where is Manasseh? Where is Ephraim? Where's Dan? Where's Levi? Well, they claim to be Levi, and they claim to be Judah, and they claim to be Benjamin, wrapped up in one pile, dog pile called Jewish. Let's read.
And the cities shall be inhabited, and the ways shall be built.
Shall be. Shall be. Read.
And I will multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bring fruit. And I will settle you after your old estates.
What? Read it again.
And I will settle you after your old estates.
But I thought those things were done away with. We have a problem because in churchianity, they're always talking about new stuff. Why would the Most High speak about a future where old stuff will be brought back into being? What are the old stuff? We're not talking about the Garden of Eden. We're talking about the old stuff, the old estate. Okay? All the laws, statutes, and commandments that people run away from and try to find wormholes through it, they cannot run away from it this time. So if they want to enjoy their fantasy right now, that's fine, because in the future, you're not going to have a fantasy. It'll be a reality. Let's read.
And will do better unto you than at your beginnings, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah.
So if the people are in the land right now, are the returned Israelites, what better stuff that they have that is better than the beginnings? What do they have right now that is better than what the Most High have in store? The Most High haven't given anybody anything better. That hasn't happened yet. It's going to come in the future. Okay? It says, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah, because I'm the one that's going to be giving it to you. Verses 12.
Yea, I will cause men to walk upon you.
I will do what? Cause. Read.
Even my people Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and they shall possess thee, and thou shalt be their inheritance,
Mm-hmm.
and thou shalt no more henceforth bereave them of men.
So we're not going to lose any of our people. That's what he's talking about. Right now, you have the Iron Dome. you have bunkers, you have Palestinians, you have all kinds of people in the territories, churches, mosques, you name it, all over the place. Everybody has their own ideology. Does that sound like the return? Does that sound like anything is correct? No. So there must be a war. Let's continue on.
Also, they have the Pan, the goddess Pan in the territory. They still do sell pigs. They do the sodomite parade and all these
Parades.
crazy things. So
Let's
so-
pick it up at verses 14.
Therefore, thou shalt devour men no more,
Mm-hmm.
neither bereave thy nations any more, say Yahuwah Elohim. Neither will I cause men to hear in thee the shame of the heathen any more, neither shalt thou bear the reproach of the people any more, neither shalt thou cause thy nations to fall any more, say Yahuwah Elohim.
So let's look at this again. He says, there'll be no more shame of the heathen. What's happening in Israel right now? There's shame. Okay, there's a lot of shame going on over there. Reproach is still happening. Neither shall you cause your nations to fall anymore. That's talking about Hebrews. People, if the people in Israel right now are the people of the book, meaning Israelites, then there shouldn't be any more dead Hebrews or wars and all of these different things. Those things should be at an end. Okay. Verses 16, let's read.
Moreover, the word of Elohim came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanliness of a removed woman.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for the idols wherewith they had polluted it.
This stuff is still going on today, family. So the place must be cleansed. But again, he's speaking now in the past tense. When we occupied the territory of Israel, we didn't do so well. We shed blood. We were corrupt with idolatry and such like. Verses 19.
And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries. According to their way and according to their doings, I judged them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they entered onto the heathen whither they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, These are the people of Yahuwah, and are gone forth out of his land.
So again, when we came amongst the Gentiles, we pick up the ways of the Gentiles. This is why we have such a hard time to cause our people to even listen and to change their ways, because that idolatry, that wickedness is still deep in them. Let's continue on.
But I had pity for mine holy name,
Mm-hmm.
which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen, whither they went.
So he still has compassion upon Israel, but only through his name. He's going to keep his side of the contract. Verses 22.
Therefore say unto the house of Israel, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which he hath profaned among the heathen, whither he went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which he hath profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am Yahuwah, say Yahuwah Elohim, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes.
So he has to clean us up, and he's going to do it himself. Let's read on.
For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you.
Does he say some of it? He says all of it. Has that happened yet? No. Family, these are prophecies that the church will not talk about. Okay, I'm going to this part first before we go into the war, because in order for him to deal with those nations who occupy the place, he must wage war against them. Okay, let's continue on.
A new heart also will I give you,
And what else?
and a new spirit will I put within you,
Mm-hmm.
and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh.
And I will make you a good Christian, and you shall. So say that in there.
I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh.
So when he's talking about the you, who is the you he's referring to? It's not a denomination. He's going to take away the stony heart from them. All 12 tribes. There must be 12 tribes somewhere for those things to happen, right? It must happen. It must be must come to pass. Read on, brother.
And I will put my spirit within you,
Mm-hmm.
and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and to do them.
If this hasn't happened yet, and if this is not going to happen, then God is a liar.
That's Jeremiah 31.
Then he's a liar. Why would I want to listen to someone? If he sent us his son to say something, why would I even want to listen to his son when the father himself is a liar? Why would I want to listen to him? You see, when you ask the right questions, it answers itself. It tells you, it teaches you. The father is going to keep his word. His son is going to keep the father's word. All right, let's read on.
And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim.
One of the requirements that he's going to do when he changes and give a new heart is to do what? Keep the commandments, the statutes and the judgments. It's the commandments. That new heart means to keep the commandments. Verses 29.
I will also save you from all your uncleanliness, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you.
Mm-hmm.
And I will multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that he shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen.
Amongst who?
Among the heathen.
Amongst the heathen. So he's going to take us from among these heathen, bring us back to the land, and increase not only ourselves as people, but also we're going to have gardens and crops and you name it. We're going to reproduce stuff again. All right, let's read.
Then shall he remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall load yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations.
So wait a minute. If the people are pure and clean, why would he bring regret in their minds? Why would he cause them to remember those times of going astray? He says, then shall you remember your own evil ways and your doings. Because remember, the book of Revelation says that there'll be no more sorrow. You're going to forget all those things, remember? Wipe away all tears from your eyes. So what's going on here? These are two different times, family. This one has to happen because he wants to see a repented people. He's going to do some marvelous stuff, and he's going to prove us that he's going to make us, provoke us to pity, reduce us to a stage of regret. Because here you have someone fighting for you all the time, and what we're doing is we're embarrassing him over and over, embarrassing him. Going about doing your own conversations, doing your own thing, following other people. So when your Elohim, your power is telling you this is the way it's supposed to be, you got your own thing going on. It doesn't work like that. Got too many powers in the one house. Doesn't work like that. Always going to have problems. Let's read.
Not for your sakes do I this,
Mhm.
say Yehovah Elohim. Be it known unto you, be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. Thus say Yehovah Elohim, in the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities.
Wait. He says that he's going to clean in the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities. I will also. So the cleaning, and then he's going to follow up with what? Causing you to dwell in what? Cities, and the waste shall be built. Is there a waste right now in Israel? You might as well call it so. If you're talking about sins happening over there, right now the place is desolate. Brothers and sisters, part of the process of cleaning or bringing us back to the land, you must be clean. Before you go into the bed and sleep, you got to take a shower. You got to get yourself right. Before everything is given to you, you got to get yourself right. Let's read on.
And the desolate land shall be tilled,
Worked.
whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that pass by.
Read.
And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden.
It is the Garden of Eden. Is that what it says? It says like. Like and is two different things. Like the Garden of Eden, read.
And the waste and the desolate and ruined cities are become fenced and are inhabited.
Wait a minute. Fencing up. And they shall say, this land, says the land will become like the Garden of Eden, not the people. The land will become like the Garden of Eden. Okay? And the waste and desolate and ruined cities are become fenced and are what? Inhabited. These things have to happen in the future. It hasn't happened yet. Let's read on.
Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Build the ruined places and plant that was desolate. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it, and I will do it.
So the heathen will be left because when it says left, it must be something, it must be a war. Okay, we're going to go into that. Let's read on.
Thus say Yahuwah Elohim, I will yet for this be inquired of by the house of Israel to do it for them. I will increase them with men like a flock, as the holy flock, as the flock of Jerusalem in her solemn feasts. So shall the waste cities be filled with the flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah.
Now he's using shepherd talk again, and how the shepherds will, like Jacob did when he caused the sheep to drink, and they came together and produced little ones. Remember that book of Genesis? So that means that there will be reproduction in the kingdom of the Messiah. We're going to skip over 37 because it's speaking about the dry bones. The only thing that I would say about 37, let me go there real quick, is that it's speaking about taking these, putting breath into these bones again. We did a class on that, and will cause these bones to come alive. Sinews will be back on the flesh of them. This is verse 6. He prophesied, the bones came together, and so forth. And let me continue on the way down. Verses 12, therefore prophesy and say unto these bones, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, behold, all my people, I will open your what? Graves. Open the graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into heaven.
The land of
It says
Israel.
the land of Israel. Has that happened yet?
No.
Okay. Now, if this is a spiritual awakening, let's say that someone has interpreted this. Oh, brother, this is not speaking about resurrection. This is speaking about the spiritual awakening. Okay. So if this is a spiritual awakening, where are the Hebrews who have spiritually awakened and have returned back to Israel? Has that happened? No. Because if it's talking about the spiritual awakening, then I guess everybody else before are lost. They're not going to till the soil. They're not going to enjoy the trees, and they'll have to wait until the resurrection day that churchianity has set up. They got to wait for that time. So it's not correct, family. All right, let's skip on down a little bit. You shall know that I am Yahuwah when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you. So physical bodies, then the spirit comes right in. And you shall what? Live, and shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken it and what? Performed it, saith Yahuwah. Let's go down to 21. And say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will take the children of Israel from where? Among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be their king, shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Has this happened? If you ignore the prophecies, you are saying that God is a liar. You can't say I'm serving the God of the Bible and ignore his own word, his own prophets. Let's go to let me see where else I want to go. Verses 23 says, neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things. Pork, the media, pornography, sodomites in the street parading, little children being exposed to all these wicked spirits, the music. Have you gotten rid of all the demonic music, the influence of the media? That hasn't happened yet. Has he thrown out or burnt all the wicked books of sorcery? That hasn't happened yet. The rest of it is talking about David shall be their prince. It's talking about the Messiah. Verse 26, moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. Has that happened yet? All right, let's move on. Let's go to chapter 38. Let's pick up some speed here. Okay, so let's take a look at 38, because this is where we're going to go into the war parts, okay? Brother Pincus, read on for me, please.
And the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach, and Tubal, and prophesy against it.
Prophesy as good friends.
Prophesy against it.
Against them. Okay, let's read.
And say, thus say Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen.
Stop. When the Bible says horses and horsemen, is it talking about jeeps and tanks? Or is it really horses and horsemen? Eschatology in Christianity is that this is symbolic of jeeps. Brothers and sisters, when the Bible tells you it's horses and horsemen, is exactly that. Has to be that way. Let's continue.
All of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords.
Bucklers and shields, all kinds of armor. Let's see who's on the list.
Persia,
Persia, that's Iran.
Ethiopia,
Uh-huh.
and Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmets.
Now, if you look into historical events, you'll see that Russia has always been making deals with Iran, Ethiopia, and also Libya. These places have always acquired some type of military strength from the Russian government. Okay, let's continue on. Gomer.
Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou, and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
So they will be waging war and coming into the territories of Israel, right? Let's see what verses 9 is saying.
Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come in thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
Remember, we read before where the Bible says he will bring us to the land and we will set up fences. But over here, it's not saying that. So what's going on here? Keep that in mind, okay? One verse is saying we are back, or we will be brought back, and then we will build fences and have our borders and stuff. But over here it says that there's no fences. Okay, let's continue on. Verses 12.
To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus say Yahuwah Elohim, in that day when my people of Israel dwell safely, shalt thou not know it.
Read.
And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses.
Riding upon jeeps.
Riding upon horses, a great company and mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel,
Mm-hmm.
which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them?
So it has to happen, right? Verses 18.
And it shall come to pass at the same time when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, say Jehovah Elohim, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel.
Keep that in mind. The great shaking is what? What do we call a great shaking in a land?
Earthquake.
Earthquake. So keep that in mind. Let's continue on.
So that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall,
Mm-hmm.
and every wall shall fall to the ground. And I will call for the sword against him throughout all my mountains, say Yahuwah Elohim. Every man's sword shall be against his brother, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands, and upon many people that are with him, and overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will and and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah.
Okay. We're gonna go to. Let me highlight a couple of things first of all. Notice it talks about earthquake, but it speaks about great hailstones, fire, brimstones. In the book of Joshua, we're going to go there real quick. Chapter 10. As a matter of fact, let me just open up another one here. The book of Joshua, chapter 10, we'll read verses 12 to 14. I want to share with you all when the Most High fights, that you can still see his style, his way of fighting. Joshua 10, verses 12 to 14. Okay, I'll read. Then spake Joshua to Yahuwah in the day when Yahuwah delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Joshua? So the sun still stood still in the midst of heaven and hastened not to go down about the whole day. Is that the one that I want? Let me see. Hang on one second. Give me 1 second. I think I'm looking at something. 1 second. There is okay, down to 17. Yes, that's the one. Okay. So it's down to 17, not to 14. Let me read it again. Verse 14, and there was no day like that before it or after it, that you are hearkened unto the voice of a man, for you are fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp of Gilgal. But these 5 kings fled and hid themselves in the cave at Makeda. And it was told Joshua, saying, the 5 kings are found in the cave, hid in the cave at Makeda. And Joshua said, roll great stones upon the mouth of the cave. Let me see. Am I reading the right thing here? Hang on one second. I think I'm reading the wrong thing. Give me 1 second, family. Sometimes you write certain things down, and I think it's Joshua 9, probably. Let me see. Yes. Did I miss it then? Oh, yeah, that's it, in 11. So I was in the right spot, just read the wrong place. Okay, let's go back again. 11. And it came to pass as they fled from before Israel and were going in the going down of Bethron, that the Lord Yahuwah cast down great stones from heaven. That's what I wanted. Upon them unto Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. That's what I wanted. So I wanted to share with us here how when the Most High fights his warfare, you can see how in the past he utilized what? Hailstones, right? He killed them with hailstones. Now when we read Ezekiel, go back to Ezekiel, we see also how he utilized hailstones. Now let's go to chapter 39 real quick, and I'm just going to pick through a few things, and then we're going to move on to some other parts of the book. Now, chapter 39 is going to explain to us about the war, give us a little more information. Chapter 39 says, I'll read, brother. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, Behold, I am against you, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Listen to this part. I will turn you back and leave but, what does it say? A sixth part of you, and will cause you to come up from the north parts, and will bring you upon the mountains of Israel. So what he's doing is he's dividing or keeping only a remnant of Gog and Magog, right? But he's going to destroy the rest of them through a war. The reason is because when you come to the book of Revelations, it tells you that, remember, Satan is bound for 1,000 years, and then he's released, and then he's going to get some people to come and fight one last time. That's the sixth part. That's the remainder of those people. Okay. All right. And will cause you to come up from the north parts, and will bring you upon the mountains of Israel. Verses 3. And I will smite your bow out of your left hand, and will cause your arrows to fall out of your right hand. And you shall fall upon the mountains of Israel, you and all your bands, and the people that is with you. I will give you unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. You shall fall upon the open field, for I have spoken, and said Yahuwah Elohim. I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. Verse 7, so will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and will not let them pollute my holy name any more. Is that happening? Is it happened yet? Is it still happening today? They're still polluting? The name is still being polluted, right? And the heathen shall know that I am Yahuwah, the Holy One. Where? In Israel. In Israel. Not of Israel, but this time he's in Israel. Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith Yahuwah Elohim. This is the day whereof I have spoken. They that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth, they shall set on fire and burn what? Both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire. How long? 7 years. Now, remember we said, I said it, we're not talking about jeeps and stuff. We're talking about physical animals. We're talking about a different type of warfare that has to happen. The Bible says in verses 10, so that they shall take no what? Wood. You need wood to make chariots. You need wood to make bows and arrows. You need wood to do a lot of these different things. To make shields and stuff. You have the wood laid with pieces of metal on it, okay? Because a whole metal shield is very heavy for you to fight with. Don't worry about what you see with King Arthur and all those guys. It's difficult for you to walk around with a shield and fight with a shield that heavy of iron, pure iron, or even brass. It says, so that they should take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forests, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith Yahuwah Elohim. Church won't tell you that. It shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea, and it shall stop the noses of passengers. You know what that means? Stench. Stench. And there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon Gog. And 7 months, 7 moons shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. 7 months, right? Churchianity don't talk about that, right, family? That's not important. So in Churchianity, let me ask the Mishpakai in the chat room. Have you ever heard this message in, do they talk about this in Churchianity? For those of you who have attended Churchianity for 20 plus years, have you all heard this before? Never. They don't talk about this stuff. Have you heard this before, sis? They don't talk about this stuff. They don't tell you about the stench of barren bodies for 7 months. They don't talk about it, right? That they may cleanse the land. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to do what? Cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. So you have everybody's going to pitch in to bury, but then you're going to have bodies that have decayed at that time, right? So now you need to hire men to go out and search for bones. It's just too many people. You're talking about millions of people, of dead bodies, okay? And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bone, they say spirit, a man's bone. It doesn't say a woman's bone, it say a man's bone, right? Then shall he set up a sign by it, a little tag, a little flag, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon Gog. And also the name of the city shall be Hamanah. Thus shall they cleanse the land, and you, son of man, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, speak unto every feathered fowl and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come. Gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that you may eat flesh and drink blood. So the Most High have a sacrifice for the animals. Okay? Not for himself, but for the animals. You shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, and of goats, and of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. You shall eat fat till you be full, and drink blood till you be drunken of my sacrifice which I have sacrificed for you. Thus you shall be filled at my table with horses and what? Now, brothers and sisters, you think the birds will be eating car parts, jeeps, and tanks? Yes, Ima. Family, the birds could only eat horse meat.
I think that
Yes.
those that drinking the blood will be mosquitoes, some big mosquitoes. 'cause they like
Mosquitoes?
to drink blood. I mean,
Mosquitoes like things when it's alive. They don't suck blood from dead carcasses, do they? No. Not that I know of. Skeeters are very particular. They have a very high taste. If their heart don't beat, they don't drink. Yeah. But I want you all to see this because the wizards would tell you that this is talking about the horses, bridle, and all that stuff is a bunch of tanks. When the Bible tell you that the birds have to eat something, okay. The Bible says that with horses and chariots, with mighty men, with all men of war, saith Yahweh, I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh, their Elohim, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for what? Their iniquity, because they trespass against me. The heathen will know, based upon that war, he has to defeat them. And this is how they're going to know the whole reasons for this war. It's all about Israel. The wars that is happening right now, are they talking about the returned Israelites? The 12 tribes of Israel? It's not talking about that. They're always talking about Jewish people and protecting Jewish sovereignty. Okay? The heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them and gave them into the hand of their friends. So fell they all by the sword because of their friends. It says enemies, Mishpata. Enemies, they're enemies, not friends. But, you know, we read this thing because the church makes us believe they are friends, and we form covenants of marriage and covenants of friendship and everything else. According to their uncleanness, didn't we read about the uncleanness with the dogs and stuff like that? The heathen kiss the dog. Then they come and says, hey, let's say goodbye. And they give you a kiss. And the worms just wiggle. The little tiny things just wiggle. Huh? They would go to the park, walk the dog, and then they'll put the little plastic bag in their hand and pick up the doo-doo. But the dog will go to another dog and introduce themselves by way of the backside and kiss all that up. And then the person will come bend down. Hey, it's such a cute dog. And I would like you all to do an experiment if you can. When they do this and they allow themselves to be kissed, take a piece of toilet paper, just pretend to be wiping it in your behind, and just wipe it all over your face, and then go to them and says, give me a kiss and see what happens. They would probably knock you out. But if they would do that to you, why do they allow the animals to do these things to themselves? And the babies. And some Gentile people would say that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human mouth. If a person can make that statement, why would I want to lay down in bed with such a person? According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Now, Ma'ima brought something to my attention here. Ima, can you get for me where the Most High says we need a paddle because he's coming into the camp? Can you get that for me again? Now, our Elohim told Israel that I'm going to be paying you all a visit from time to time. And when I come through the camp, I don't want to see no doo-doo. Which one is it? Let's go to Deuteronomy 23. Deuteronomy 23. And what verse? Okay, so let's read this thing. 13. Deuteronomy 23 and 13. Please make a note of this. Let's start at verses 12. You shall have a place also without the camp, whither you shall go forth abroad. And you shall have a paddle upon your weapon, and it shall be when you will ease thyself abroad. You know, when you're there, you're easing yourself abroad. You shall dig therewith, and shall turn back and cover that which cometh from thee. The easing, you have to cover your easing up. Okay? Listen to this, verse 14. For you are your Elohim, what does he do? He walketh in the midst of the camp to deliver you and to give up your enemies from before you. Therefore shall your camp be holy or set apart, that he see no unclean thing in you and turn away from you. If the Most High is putting these strict laws about doo-doo in a camp, do you think that he will allow dogs to run around the place amongst Israel and poop here and poop there? He's going to walk around and say, oops, and like have to be careful where he's going to put his feet in Israel. This is why we are supposed to be a different people, because this sounds like it's crazy stuff. Y'all are so picky about dogs. Why y'all keep talking about dogs? Well, because dogs don't have their own paddles. And if a dog can't clean themselves, then we can't have those things among us. Ima, you want to say something?
We do not have a camp with us like at that time, but our homes are the camps. And it said, present our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto Elohim, which is our reasonable service. So we have to keep our bodies holy and clean, and our homes as the sanctuary also, where we live.
Well, that's a hard thing for a lot of people to swallow, but this is the thing that they're going to have to return back to. You think that the Most High is going to set up Israel again and have doo-doo all over the camp? Anyway, let's read on. Where did I stop? 26. After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespass, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of what? Many nations. Then shall they know that I am Yahuwah, their Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon all flesh, and they will prophesy and dream dreams. I have poured out my spirit upon the house of who? Israel, saith Yahuwah. Let's go to Joel. We're going to pick up some speed. All right, Joel. Let's get Joel. Brother Pincus, I'm going to pass the relay on to you. Joel 2, let me see if I want to go there. We're going to pick out some things in Joel. I'm not going to read all of it. Let's get Joel 2. Joel chapter 2, and let's see. Okay, let's start at verses 1.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of Yahuwah cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloomness, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations.
All right, we're going to skip on down. when you have some time, you can read the rest of it. Well, actually, let's read 3. Let's read 3.
A fire devour it before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them.
So you can stop there. Now, notice it mentions is as Eden, right? We read it before in Ezekiel. So it is dealing with pretty much the same subject: the restoration of Israel and the destruction of another people. Let's skip on down to verses. Go all the way down to verses. Let's start at verses 25. 25. Just want to make a couple of points here before we move on. Okay.
And I will restore to you the years that the locust had eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you.
All right. Verses 27.
And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
In the midst of who?
Israel.
Read.
And that I am Yahuwah your Elohim, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed.
Remember, we talked about shame in Ezekiel. So I'm not going to go through and read every single thing. I just want to highlight a few things here. Now let's read verses 28.
And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my
So the
spirit
context is Israel. But now you're saying afterwards, right? I will pour out my spirit, read.
upon all flesh,
Uh-huh.
and your sons,
All flesh, all sons.
and your sons,
Whose sons?
Israel,
It's Israel. Read.
and your daughters shall prophesy.
Uh-huh.
Your old men
Your old men.
shall dream dreams,
Uh-huh.
and your young men shall see visions.
Yours is Israelites. So let's prove that. Read on.
And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit.
So we're going to have servants and handmaids. Has this happened yet? The church only talking about pouring out the spirit, and they start flapping and flipping and doing all kinds of stuff. But they don't talk about the handmaids because that's irrelevant for them. Whereas the pouring out of the spirit is to get our people right in the law, statutes, and commandments on our hearts. So we are speaking the truth. We also going to have handmaids and servants. Read on. 30.
And I will show wonders in heaven and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day of Yahuwah come. And it shall come to pass that whoever shall call on the name of Yahuwah shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance.
No, in the whole world will be deliverance.
In Mount Zion.
A location is Mount Zion, Israel. Okay, read.
As Yahuwah had said, and in the remnant whom Yahuwah shall call.
It continues over to chapter 3. Let's read chapter 3. Chapter 3, next chapter, verses 1.
For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
We're not going to read the whole chapter of 3, but what I'm highlighting here is that the war, the great war that's supposed to happen, is all about Israel. Shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. I will also, that's part of the shall, right? Process. Gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. Verses 3.
And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot. and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
Let's skip on down a little bit. Y'all can read the whole thing, but let's go down to verses 6.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have he sold unto the Grecians, that he might remove them far from their border.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither he have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head.
So he's going to return us back, and he's going to punish those who have put us into slavery. Right? Verses 8.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah.
Has this happened yet? When is this going to happen? Why don't the church talk about this? There's going to be a war. There's going to be a regathering of Israel. There'll be a war, restoration, and slavery of other people. Why haven't the church talked about this stuff? Read on.
And they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for Yahuwah has spoken it.
Read on.
Proclaim he this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up.
Read.
Beat your plowshares into swords.
Now it's time to turn your stuff into weapons. Okay, read.
And your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Mm-hmm.
Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Where?
To the valley of Jehoshaphat.
The valley of Jehoshaphat. Read.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
Mm-hmm.
Put he in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great.
The wickedness is great. We saw the vampire system. I have so many news reports that I had to shake my head and says, well, I'll be just broadcasting and publishing the wickedness of these people over and over and over and over, and just vexing not only my spirit, but the spirit of our people. But the Most High can see the vexation and see the wickedness, and he has to answer. He has to put this thing right. This is why we have to have a great war. Let's read on, brother.
Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision.
Uh-huh.
For the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahuwah will be the hope of his people.
Of everybody.
Shall be the hope of his
of
people.
Of the church.
Of his people.
Uh-huh.
And the strength of the children of Israel.
The strength of the children of Israel. Read.
So shall he know that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountain shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with water, and fountains shall come forth of the house of Yahuwah.
A fountain. Read on.
And shall water the valley of Chittim.
Mm-hmm.
Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahuwah dwell in Zion.
Now it says this, and these things have not happened yet. Now we're going to go to, let's see, Zephaniah chapter 1. We'll read a couple of verses. Zephaniah chapter 1. I'm going to read 14 to 18, Zephaniah. chapter 1, 14 to 18. So there must be a great war, family, in order to bring things in order, okay? Verses 14, let's read.
The great day of Jehovah is near. It is near, and hasten it greatly. Even the voice of the day of Jehovah, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
Mm-hmm.
That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, and a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. I will bring stress upon men that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahuwah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung.
Mm-hmm.
Neither their silver nor gold shall be able to deliver them.
Oh, and this, let's stop for a moment. If you notice carefully, every time we listen to these prophecy teachers teach, they're always talking about buying silver and gold as part of the future events.
Mhm.
They're always talking about buying silver and gold because that's what they put their trust in. Okay. Do you think that most, about, let's say, out of 100%, or out of 10, how many Hebrews do you think will be able to afford silver and gold? Hmm? Maybe about 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10. So the rest of them will be, left to destruction because they have no way of. This is why our king has to save us himself. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them. Read.
In the day of Yahuwah's wrath.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
You have to have people dwelling in the land right now for him to do a riddance. If the land, because when we read desolate, we're thinking there's nobody in the territory. Why would you want to go into a place and rid something that don't exist and still call it desolate? It's desolate because you have the wrong people in the place. You got to purge the place out. It's void of the right stuff. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14. Zechariah chapter 14. We can just read a few parts of it. Zechariah chapter 14. Let me see. One second. 14. As a matter of fact, well, let's go to 13 real quick. We're just going to read verses 1, because remember we read about the fountain, right? We read about the fountain, right? Okay, so Zechariah chapter 13 and verses 1, we're going to see the same fountain again. Go ahead and read.
In that day there shall be a fountain opened to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land.
All right, that's all we need from that. Has that happened yet, family? No, it hasn't happened yet. Now let's go to chapter 14, and we're going to start at verses, let's see. Yeah, let's start at verses, I'm going to skip through some things for time's sake. Let's go to verses 3. Okay, we'll start at 3.
Then shall Yahuwah go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the fought in the day of battle.
Mm-hmm.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, he shall flee like as he fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah the king of Judah.
So it speaks about an earthquake. Skip on down to let's skip on down to verses 9. We'll just jump through a few things here.
And Yahuwah shall be king over all the earth, and in that day shall there be one Yahuwah, and his name one.
Okay. So there's going to be that great war, and if you can read for me, please. Let's go down to verses 16, all the way to 16. I just want to read a few parts here. Let's read that 16.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem.
It says left of all the nations, because remember, they were buried for many months, right? 7 months. And then there was a sixth part that was kept back for a season. So now those that are kept back, they have to come up and worship. Let's see what it says. Read.
Shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahuwah of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
All right, let's get Revelations 14. Revelations 14, we're going to read 14 to 20. Revelations 14, 14 to 20. So far, we've been stuck in the Tanakh, reading all the different prophecies. Let's see if Revelations 14, 14 to 20 lines up with anything that we've read so far. Okay, 14. Here we go.
And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Trust in thy sickle, and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the clouds thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped.
Mm-hmm.
And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, and he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe.
Mm-hmm.
And the angel thrust in his sickle in the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into great winepress of the wrath of Elohim. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse's bridle, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
To the horse's bridle. You must have horses to know where the bridle is. You can't have a tank driving around and then you got to draw something in the tank saying, well, this is where the bridle is. To measure. You must have horses around. Why do you think they're so concerned about the grid, the electric grid going down, family? Have you ever considered that? Let's go to chapter 16. We'll read from 13 to 21. I'll do the reading for this one because I want to pick up just a little more speed, and then I'll have you come back in a moment. 16, 13 to 21. Okay. 13. There we go. All right, it says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, for they are the spirits of devils, working miracles. That's propaganda, the media, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them to battle of that great day of Yahuwah Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, keepeth his garment, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. There were voices, thunders, lightnings, there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And it says, let me see where I want to stop. It says 21. Okay. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. The cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Elohim to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Every island fled away, and every mountain were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of where? Heaven. Is that the same thing we saw in Joshua? Every stone about. Now, when you read that same story with Joshua, you notice that the sun and the moon was messed around with, right? And then you have the hail. And then when you read about these prophecies, you notice they're talking about great darkness, the sun and the moon is messed around with. And then you have the hail or earthquake. You can still see the patterns of the Most High there, okay? There fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed Elohim because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Now let's go down to Jeremiah 49, 7 to verses 22. Jeremiah, let's go back over here. We're almost done, Mishpachah. We're almost done. Just hanging there just a little bit longer. No, you don't sing those songs. Jeremiah 49, 7 to 22. Okay, 7 to 22. Let's see. Now, this is a prophecy concerning Edom. Make a note of this, family, because you're reading the book of Obadiah right here. Book of Obadiah is read right here, okay? All right, so let's take a look. It says, concerning Edom, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts. Where is the wisdom? Let me read it again. Is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is there wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. If grape gatherers come to you, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his what? Brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Sounds like he's been removed altogether, right? Leave your fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let your widows trust in me. Thus saith Yahuwah, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken, and art you he that shall altogether go on unpunished? Thou shalt not go on unpunished, but you shall surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, said Yahuwah, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes. I have heard a rumor from Yahuwah. An ambassador is sent unto the heathen. Isn't that the book of Obadiah? Saying, gather you together and come against her and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make you small among the heathen and despised among men. Your terribleness have deceived you, and your pride of your heart. O you that dwell in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, though you should make your nest as high as the eagle, I will bring you down from thence, saith Yahuwah. Also Edom shall be a desolation, every one that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. And as neighbor cities thereof shall Yahuwah, saith Yahuwah, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong. What did I say? I want to stop. 22. Thank you. But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahuwah that he has taken against Edom and his purposes, that he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. But what if they become Christians? Is he going to fulfill his promise? How about Jesus? The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings over Bozrah. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Stop right there. This is a promise that the Most High has made towards the destruction of Edom. And let me go to a couple more books, and then we're going to say shalom. Isaiah, let's see here. Let's see what it says here. Okay, Isaiah 34, just to keep the same message about the destruction. This is war. This is all the great war, family. This is all the great war. Isaiah chapter 34. And let us see what the books is saying about the future, okay? You can make a note that this is Revelations 19 and also Isaiah 63. It reads, come near, you nations, and hear, and hearken, you people, let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahuwah is upon all nations. Wait a minute. If all the nations are, most of the nations are Christian nations, what are you talking about? And his fury upon all their armies, he have utterly destroyed them. He have delivered them to the slaughter. That sounds like war, isn't it? Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses. Where did we read that before? Ezekiel. Okay, 7 months of burial. And the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the fallen fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon who? Against who? Idumea. So where's Idumea? Some people will say that's Jordan. What trouble is Jordan doing to the children of Israel? How did Jordan scatter all the children of Israel across the world? Huh? How is Jordan benefiting from the enslavement of the Most High's people? Jordan, little tiny Jordan. Come on now. It shall come upon Idumea and upon the people of my good Christian behaviors. What did it say? My curse to judgment. The sword of Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahuwah have sacrificed in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahuwah's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of who? It all has to do with Zion. Why isn't the church talking about this? And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone. That's Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night or day, and the smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant, the bittern, shall possess it, the owl also, and the raven. All these are birds of prey and like to pick dead bodies and whatnot. Yep. Have you ever seen those landfills? So the birds are always flying around picking things. Okay. The stench. An owl also and a raven. So you got the night crew and the morning crew, the cormorant in the morning, afternoon crew, and the night crew round the clock eating the bodies, right? And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. And they shall call, they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all their princes shall be nothing. Let me see if I want to read any more. Let's see. Okay, so let's leave that. Just want to share that little tidbit. Let's go to chapter 35. 35 is saying, let's see. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them. The desert shall rejoice and blossom as a rose. You see when it's going to happen? It's going to be after the war, family. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel, Sharon. They shall see the glory of Yahuwah and the excellency of Elohim. Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Let me see. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your Elohim will come with vengeance, even Elohim with a recompense. He will come to do what? Save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened. Hallelujah. And the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. And then shall the lame man leap as an hart, like a deer. And the tongue of the dumb shall sing. And the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break forth, and streams in the desert. Family, these are the things that we're looking for. Let me see what else. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and a thirsty land, springs of water in the habitation of dragons, where each lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes. And an highway shall be there, a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring man, as the Torah keepers, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, no ravenous beast shall go up thereon, it shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk therein, and the ransom of Yahuwah shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall what? Flee away. So it'll be holy ground once again, family. I want to read something to you. This is the Psalms of Solomon. The Psalms of Solomon. You all can go to the website. Let me go here and show you exactly where to go. If you go to our website, you can download the two books of the Pseudepigrapha. Go to Resource Library, and you scroll down just a little bit. You see there's 2 volumes. of the Old Testament pseudepigrapha. You see volume 1 and volume 2. We're reading volume 2 right now. You can click on that to download the whole thing. So Psalms of Solomon, and we're going to read verses 22 to chapter 17, 22 to verses 32 real quick. Let me get it here. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Okay, 22. Let me make sure it's the right stuff. Okay, that's correct. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Chapter 17. So y'all can see it. All right, that's nice and big. Okay. It says, undergird him with the strength to destroy the unrighteous rulers, to purge Jerusalem from who? The Gentiles, who trample her to destruction in wisdom and in righteousness, to drive out the sinner from the inheritance. That's a war. To smash the arrogance of the sinners like a potter's jar, to shatter all their substance with a rod of iron, with iron rod, to destroy the unlawful nations with the word of his mouth. At his warning, the nations will flee from his presence. He will condemn sinners by the thought of their hearts. He will gather a holy people whom he will lead in righteousness. He will judge the tribes of the people that have been holy by Yahuwah, their Elohim. He will not tolerate unrighteousness, even to pause among them. And any person who knows wickedness shall not live with them, for he shall know them that they are the children of their Elohim. He will distribute them upon the land according to what? Their tribes. Y'all see that here? That's prophecy. The alien and the foreigner will no longer live near them. He will judge peoples and nations in the wisdom of his righteousness. And he will have Gentile nations serving him under his yoke. And he will glorify, Yahuwah in a place prominent above the whole earth. He will purge Jerusalem and make it holy as it was even from the beginning, for nations to come from the ends of the earth to see his glory, to bring as gifts her children who had been what? Driven out, and to see the glory of Yahuwah, with which Elohim has glorified her. And he will be a righteous king over them, taught by Elohim. There will be no unrighteousness among them in his days, for all shall be holy, and their king shall be what? The Messiah, Yahuwah the Messiah. Let's take a couple more. We're going to say shalom here. So family, you can see even in the Psalms of Solomon, the Bible is establishing what the future holds. There will be war because of Israel. In the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verses 1, brother Pincus, read for me, please.
And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Alleluia, salvation and glory and honor and power unto Yahuwah Elohim. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he had judged the great whore which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and had avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah. And her smoke rose up forever and ever.
All right, we're going to skip down just a little bit. Let's go down to verses 11. Verses 11. Let's read from here, okay?
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes were as a flame of fire, on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Elohim.
Remember we read about the sickle. He will press the sickle through. Okay, this is all the same thing. So Revelations is not contradicting what the prophets have said. Okay, read on.
And he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Elohim of Elohims. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourself together unto the supper of the great Elohim.
Is that the same thing we read before? Same stuff, right? Okay, read on.
That he may eat the flesh of kings, and of the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses,
No, the flesh of tanks and jeeps.
and of the flesh of horses,
Uh-huh.
and of them that sit on them,
Sit on them, not in them. Read.
and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
Read.
And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that brought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image.
Yeah, social media has been destroyed. Go ahead.
These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Uh-huh.
And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
So if we see, let's go to the next chapter. We're going to close up here. If we see a bunch of, all of a sudden there's a whole rise of birds. I'm hoping that happens pretty soon. All of a sudden, the news report, hey, we've been noticing a lot of birds is gathering. No, a lot of birds are gathering, and as a matter of fact, they're not gathering over. All the birds in South America is moving over to the, they're flying here, and then all of a sudden they're flying a little higher up, and then they're flying. The Most High allow them to fly over or travel from Africa. Just come straight up. It's like, okay, go ahead, get them. Hallelujah, get them. Let's get Revelations 20. Let's wrap it up. Go ahead and read, brother.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
So remember we saw in chapter 19 that Yeshua came with a sword, and he broke those militaries, and he cast the certain ones into the fire. But then Satan he put under arrest for a period of time, for 1,000 years. Right? Let's continue on. So we saw the Great War. That's the first part. Okay. So now let's read.
And cast him into the bottomless pit,
into prison,
and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled.
So he's going to deceive the nations, but only after the 1,000 years. Okay? So when it says no more, it's just letting you know that if you read with that for the full stop, then you will say, okay, it's over. The game is over. But it says till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And what else?
And after that, he must be loose a little season.
So now he's on parole. Verses 4.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yeshua and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Yeshua 1,000 years.
So that means that grandma who never heard the word and all that stuff, I guess they're not going to reign? No. Okay, let's continue on.
But the rest of the dead live not again until 1,000 years were finished.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first resurrection.
Read on.
Blessed and holy is he that had part in the first resurrection. On such the second death had no power, but they shall be priests of Elohim and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
So be reigning with him as priests and kings for 1,000 years over those nations. Verses 7.
And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison,
Mm-hmm.
and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
So remember we read about Gog and Magog and Edom and those different nations who wanted to take the territories and whatnot, defy the Most High. The Bible says about specifically Gog and Magog that they will be destroyed, but a sixth part will be left behind. Remember that? So this is the sixth part that has multiplied and grew into a multitude and have been confederate with some of these other nations. Now they're making a last stand against the Messiah with the help of Satan. Verses 9.
And they went up unto the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from Elohim out of heaven and devoured them.
Mm-hmm.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night
So he's
forever and ever.
So he's going to join them later on, okay? So we can stop here. We'll stop here. Okay. So family, just to wrap everything up, there will be a great war. The great war is on behalf of Israel. I want you all to keep that in mind, because when we're talking to a people who have been in church for such a long time, what we remember the most is all the other stuff. We need to start being more acquainted with the prophecies that pertains to us as a people with regards to what the Most High is going to do to these nations. All of these things haven't happened yet. It will happen in the future. They don't want to talk about this because they're going to be the ones receiving the punishment. And when you think about the lies that they have been putting out, that's equivalent to the unclean spirits that came out of the like frogs that came out of the false prophet's mouth, right? Because they're telling people stuff that is not true, that Jesus is going to save the whole world and we all going to go to heaven, and you can eat unclean stuff and you can marry whoever you want and you can mix species and do all kinds of stuff. That is not according to the Most High's way. That is not his plan. And that you don't have to keep the judgments anymore. The statutes is over with. All that is over with. That's not according to the Most High. Okay. So I hope everyone has gained some understanding. Make this a little bit smaller. Everyone has gained some understanding. I know it's gonna open up a whole lot of questions, but we'll deal with some questions another time, family. I don't know why this thing is like this, stuck. All right, family. So with that said, we're gonna stop here and say shalom. We want to close out with prayer, and we'll ask brother, what's Kifa? Kifa to close out with a short prayer as we say shalom, shalom to the house of Yisrael scattered among these nations. Just to let everyone know, we will, I have seen some of the questions that brothers and sisters have been sending me. I put them into a special folder to address them. I will cover them. We will go into these things and answer your many questions. All right. So let us close out with prayer. Kifa.
Dear great God of Abraham, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as we stand before you, we ask, Father, that you have mercy upon us. Remember all those that are listening, that are nationwide, global, that they may gain a blessing from this message and this teaching. I pray, Father, remember the sick and the poor and those that don't have peace of Jerusalem, the whole house of Israel. I give thanks, Father, for the offerings and also the blessings of being able to make it through the week at work and the day of rest that you have given us. Grant us peace, harmony, strength, prosperity, and long life to everyone that is abiding within your laws and commandments. And that as we struggle each day, we may be strengthened and renewed by your love and by your kindness. Give you thanks and praise. These words I say, amen.
Let the words of our mouth, meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. As you are strength. Family, we're going to say shalom, 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 shalom. I pray that everyone remain in excellent health, and we'll see you on the road to Zion.